Tonight, the Mayor promises to build bridges with government.
Let's do London.
At the Globe Theatre, Sadiq Khans set out his plan for the next 3 years as he signed in for his second term.
I will never apologise for standing up for our city. I'll never apologise for saying boo to a goose, but it's important that the Prime Minister and myself work closely together.
In the last hour, the Prime Minister has announced restrictions will relax next week, allowing households to mix indoors.
And theatres can also reopen on May the 17th. I'll be live getting the reaction from dancers rehearsing for a new show at the Palladium.
On the verge of history,
Chelsea are champions again.
After Super League success, Chelsea now go for the quadruple in the Champions League final. And hopes fade to save a baby whale stranded in the Thames. Good evening. There'll be lots in Sadiq Khan's in-tray this Monday as he begins his second term as Mayor of London. But top of the list, ensuring City Hall has a better relationship with the government. The Mayor laid out his vision for the next 3 years this morning and also promised to make London a top tourist destination post-COVID. That hasn't been welcomed by everyone, though. Our political correspondent, Simon Harris, reports now on the Mayor's plans and pledges following his weekend win.
Sadiq Khan went back to work today with some political theatre. He formally signed in for a second term as Mayor on the stage at Shakespeare's Globe in Southwark. And he promised to build bridges with the government, a clear attempt to reset his relationship with the Prime Minister. Is this an acknowledgement that you were perhaps too abrasive in your first term?
Not at all. I will never apologise for standing up for our city. I'll never apologise for saying boo to a goose, but it's important that the Prime Minister and myself work closely together. We have in the past worked closely together. I appreciate...
Can you kiss and make up?
Look, I'm always happy to safely shake hands.
COVID rules meant no audience at the Globe, although a supporting cast was allowed, including the actor Adrian Lister. Part of the performance was the announcement of a £7 million plus ad campaign to promote London as a tourist attraction.
We're calling it Let's Do London.
Let's Do London includes encouraging visitors to use public transport. COVID has left Transport for London almost bankrupt, so it desperately needs people back on its tubes, trains and buses. But the Mayor's plan has alarmed one transport union. The RMT, which represents rail and underground workers, thinks it's too soon.
And it is technically in breach of the social distancing. Nobody's taken the social distancing down for 2 metres. I see very good observance of the face mask issues, but we need to work out a declaration of when public transport is safe.
TfL is safe, it always has been safe. The key thing is we've managed to reduce community transmissions.
You know that many Londoners before the election said you should focus on dealing with knife crime as your number one priority. We've now had another 4 murders in 5 days. What are you going to do about addressing that?
Look, one of the key things we're going to do is not just make sure our city recovers over the next year, but also continue to invest in more police officers, invest in young people. At the same time, we're going to continue to build record numbers of affordable homes and at the same time tackle the twin challenges of air pollution and climate change. Look, if you're going to be mayor of the greatest city in the world, you've got to be able to do more than one thing at a time. I intend to do many things at one time.
Sadiq Khan now has 3 years to make good on his manifesto promises and decide if he wants to run again in an attempt to be London's first 3-term mayor. Simon Harris, ITV News, Southwark.
In the last hour, the Prime Minister has announced restrictions will be eased as planned next week. From Monday, you can go to the pubs and restaurants and sit inside, go into friends and families' homes, and for the first time in a year, give them a hug. The alert level has also been lowered from 4 to 3. Another sign the COVID situation here is continuing to improve. Antoine Allen has the latest.
The announcement the hospitality industry has been waiting for.
Today, we are announcing the single biggest step on our roadmap, and it will allow us to do many of the things that we've yearned to do for a long time.
For the first time in over 4 months, museums, cinemas and theatres will reopen. Since the 12th of April, pubs and restaurants have been serving customers from outdoor spaces. From next week, those with only indoor dining can reopen their doors and welcome customers inside.
We feel like that we've been running a marathon and that the finish line is in sight. Therefore, we can survive it, but we just hope that this doesn't happen again.
All venues will still have to operate under social distancing rules. Bombay Bustle's tables are already being pre-booked.
There are going to be two sets of people. There are going to be one set that's going to want to run out the door and eat like at every place and are booked back to back. And then there's the other that's a little skeptical. And I think for us, we'd like to, play both sides.
Venues and attractions are already busy making their premises COVID secure. For over 140 days, the hospitality industry has been waiting for the building across the road to confirm their decision. Now giving the all clear, the question is what needs to be done to ensure that this wheel keeps spinning and the rest of the industry doesn't grind to a halt. Until tourists once again fill pavements like these, the cost of the pandemic will continue.
What we think is critical going forwards is an extension of the VAT reduction beyond April 2022 and also a national marketing campaign getting the nation back into its capital city.
From Monday, outdoor groups of up to 30 people will be permitted, plus family and friends can hug again.
It has been difficult, but they've been needed because we wouldn't be in the place we are now if it hadn't have happened, but it'd be nice to have some freedom again.
I believe that all the people will find it very, very important to engage with their families and loved ones.
We just walked past the memorial wall, which is really emotional, and people are still dying. So whilst it is welcome news, I'm very nervous of it.
Whether hugging, eating or enjoying entertainment, the Prime Minister says today's milestone is not an excuse to throw caution to the wind. The fight against COVID continues. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
Theatres will also be able to reopen from next Monday, although still with reduced numbers in the stalls and circles of the West End's famous venues. Katie Barnfield is with the stars of a new show opening at the Palladium called Here Come the Boys. Katie, there must be relief down there that they can finally perform.
Absolutely, just a massive relief for everyone in this industry after such a difficult year. Now, I'm joined by two people who are particularly excited about it. Aliash and Pasha, who you might recognise from a little show called Strictly Come Dancing. Now, guys, we've just heard that your show, Here Come the Boys, can actually finally open this month. How are you feeling about it?
Well, I mean, we're ecstatic that after waiting for so long, cancelling the show, postponing it.
For the whole year, yeah.
For a year. It's been a year. And to now know that we can go to the theatre and to perform live in front of people is going to be an incredible feeling. Although it's going to be socially distant, and all the measures are still going to be taken in from the theatre and from
for
us.
Audience.
Yes.
I mean, we're in a little bubble, so we're all practicing together. But for audience, even arrivals will be staggered, and they will be in little bubbles, so they will be safe. The main thing is theatre is back on, and we're back on stage, and can't wait to dance in front of live audience.
I imagine. I mean, how has the last year been for you guys and for performers like you? It must have been so tough.
It is tough. I mean, it's what we love doing the most in our lives, and it's like with any craft really in this last year or any industry. When you can't do it, when you can't do something you love, you kind of feel like your wings have been cut off. Mm-hmm. And we do certainly hope that the theatres are going to fully reopen in about a month. Just like everything else has. Yeah. And so we can't wait for that to happen as well. And but honestly, it was quite emotional getting back into rehearsals after so long.
I did. I was watching you guys rehearse a little bit earlier. It looked like a very high energy show. Yeah. Just tell us a little bit about it. What is Here Come the Boys?
It's definitely a full-on show. It's first of all, it's fun because we are all friends. Aliash, myself, Robin Windsor, we've got Graziano, and we get along very well. So you can see it, audience will see it, that it's a fun, friendly show, and full energy.
Full of energy. We're going to be battling as well.
Yes, tell us about the battles. How does that work?
This is super serious, Katie. Super serious.
Yeah.
Although, like Pasha just said, we are great friends, but when we get on that stage, no, we're just going to go for it.
It's a serious battle.
I haven't told him yet. I haven't told him yet. This is new as well. Sorry, Pasha.
Listen, if that's what it is, that's what it is. Bring it on.
Bring it on.
What is it going to be like performing in front of a live audience again after so long?
It's going to be emotional, but I think it's all about, for performers like us, it's about the energy exchange with the audience. That live thrill of them watching you dance. You take audience for a little trip with you.
Are you nervous after so long?
I got a little bit nervous, you know, because like it's the performance sort of is one of those things you have to train and nurture, just like anything else. And when you don't perform for that long, it's only normal that you're gonna need a little, you know, a couple of days to get back into it. So we are gonna do that. So I can't wait.
Very quickly, guys, quick plug. When are the tickets available and when's the show?
Tickets are on sale now. You can go on www.herecomethevoice.com, and the show is on from the 25th of May. The best part in town, I promise you.
There you go, there you go. Back to you.
Katie, you and your wonderful guests, thank you. Now to the rest of the day's news, and people living in a block of flats in Poplar, which caught fire on Friday, say they're angry that the Grenfell-style cladding on the building had not been removed. More than 40 people were injured in the blaze, which broke out on the 8th floor of a 19-storey building. Rags Martel spoke to those who escaped from the flames on Friday.
Yeah, the balcony above's caught fire.
Trapped in a burning building, Nadeem Ahmed tried to leave his flat.
Now at that point I then ran out to escape via the stairwell, only to be received with what I would call a backdraft, which knocked me backwards by 2 metres. And at that point all the black smoke, plumes of it, just engulfed level 14.
How's he going to get there?
Outside, the hose of the first fire crews weren't reaching the flames.
Did you think you were going to die?
Yeah, of course I did. And then I made a distressing call back to my wife, who was in the car with my 3 young daughters, to say that I can't escape the building.
With the fire taking hold and cladding falling off, Nadeem tried one more time to leave.
At that point, what was also quite chilling was a family on level 16 who have twin 1-year-old babies and a 3-year-old were struggling to get down in the thick, dense smoke. It was only about an arm's length of visibility, and at that point I grabbed a baby, my neighbour grabbed a baby, and we ran down as fast as we could, and it was really difficult.
Now taking refuge in a hotel, this is just one story of escape.
72 hours on, there is absolute anger. The issues that we have is almost on the eve of Grenfell. 4 years on, I feel as if they're playing Russian roulette with our lives.
Covered in flammable cladding, residents knew their block was dangerous. They campaigned to have it removed, and they also paid £47,000 a month for fire wardens to protect them.
And you were on the same floor as the fire?
This couple didn't want to be identified.
We're angry. We're paying a lot for a waking watch, but they weren't able to raise the alarm when we needed them.
A firefighter told me that the fire door didn't close and the fire alarm didn't go off. He was surprised that this happened.
In a statement, the developer Ballimore told us the Grenfell-style cladding played no part in the fire. It didn't start it or help spread the flames. But this is disputed by cladding experts.
Well, it doesn't appear to be the case. The video footage clearly shows that there is material on the outside of that building which is in flames. So if that's not ACM, then who knows what it is, because it certainly burned. We didn't really need any more warnings that this material is highly dangerous. It could have been stripped off 4 years ago, nearly now. Again, this was a lucky near miss.
The government says it's providing £5 billion to fix the cladding crisis, but there have been plenty of warnings.
Well, we've had 2 fires now, one in December 2018, and this one. I don't know what it will take now for government to do the right thing and step up.
Almost 4 years after Grenfell, campaigners say the government is still playing with fire and people's lives. Rags Martel, ITV News.
Rail passengers travelling in and out of London are being warned disruption will continue into this week after cracks were reported on a number of high-speed trains. The problems were first discovered over the weekend, meaning 800 trains were withdrawn from service for inspection. The disruption is affecting services running from Paddington and King's Cross. A 20-year-old man has been arrested over the murder of mother of 2 from Romford. The body of 45-year-old Maria Rawlings was found in bushes in Little Heath just over a week ago. And police are urging the mother of a baby whose body was found in the Grand Union Canal to come forward. The infant was discovered near Old Oak Lane just before 1:30 yesterday. Londoners weren't just voting for the mayor last week, but for the London Assembly members too. And the new recruits are more diverse than ever before. 3 Muslim women and a gay woman have been elected for the first time. Ria Chatterjee has been speaking to them about their priorities.
My parents were lifelong kind of left-wing socialists, and so I went Conservative, which was my teenage rebellion.
There was a time in my life where I would be sitting there at the letterbox waiting for bills to come through and knowing that I could not pay them.
I'm Jewish and gay, for instance, so there's a certain intersectionality to that. But I'm not here just for the Jewish community or the gay community.
If you don't see somebody on the TV or in politics or in places like the London Assembly who looks like you or speaks like you, how are you going to connect?
Your main job is to hold the mayor to account. So what are your key areas of concern?
Making sure that he really does do more for the cladding crisis. There are a lot of people in London who are stuck in homes that are unsafe, who are having to pay unfair bills, a cladding tax. In Waltham Forest, where I'm a councillor at the moment, we've just seen a 34-storey building approved, and to have a studio in there, an affordable studio, you have to have a starting salary of £43,000. That's just not good enough for London. That doesn't provide affordable family homes.
One policy I was really proud of during the election that Sean Berry put forward was to have a social housing commissioner. The idea was that this would be a social housing tenant themselves who would be there to speak for residents. Now, I don't know if we can get Sadiq Khan to do that, and I would love it. But even if we can't, I think the principle is important, that people who live in social housing have a say in this chamber.
The mayor started 17,000 council homes last year, and the target is 10,000 more in the next few years.
You mentioned youth violence, that idea of connecting with young people and not sort of speaking on their behalf, but drawing them into the conversation.
So there's a real recognition now of that the importance of early intervention and the importance of a trauma-informed approach, not only in our schools, but with the police and other stakeholders that young people come into contact with. We want to have more community-based policing. It helps with the intelligence, it helps with preventing crime.
I think we need to support individual police officers because they're doing a fantastic job, but we also need to look at the institution generally, look at what is policing for, who are they policing for, and make sure that policing by consent is something that is on our minds at every decision.
I want to ensure that that policing is done with consent from the community rather than an imposition, and it's about holding the mayor to account to ensure that those things happen.
Ria Chatterjee there with some of the newly elected Assembly members. And in sport, Chelsea are on the verge of an historic quadruple after securing the Women's Super League title. The Blues beat Reading 5-0 yesterday afternoon to clinch the trophy on the final day of the season. But manager Emma Hayes plans to keep the celebration short because she says the team now need to turn their attention to the Champions League final. Former Chelsea player Leanne Sanderson joins me now. Leanne, this is such an achievement for Chelsea, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, I'm a former Chelsea player myself, and they've been in fine form this year. And having a manager like Emma Hayes, she was actually our assistant manager at Arsenal when we won the quadruple in 2007. So having somebody like her leading them, but this has been a process for the last 6 or 7 years, and the men's team have backed them very heavily. They've invested a lot of money, and it's been amazing to see. And, you know, they're just, the other teams in the league are very good, but the Chelsea team are just on a different level. And the way that they play, the confidence they have reminds me of when we won everything in 2007. You know, I'm very honoured and proud to have that been the only team to have ever won with Arsenal, but I want someone else to take that over now. You know, Chelsea want another English team to do it. So it's been amazing.
And how much would you say it's down to Emma Hayes? She's won a lot of praise for the way she manages the team, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think, you know, when you watch a Chelsea team, like the way that they're playing, whoever's starting, they want their teammates to do well. And when you're on the bench, it's not an easy job. It's not an easy thing keeping all of these top players happy, but you can see the willingness that they want their teammates to win. I mean, Erin Cuthbert came off the bench yesterday, scored, and all of her teammates were just it was a 4th goal, you know, and they were just so excited for her. And you can see there's a certain feeling you get around the team, and they definitely have that winning feeling at the moment, but celebrations are going to be very limited because they've got the Champions League final this weekend, and it's going to be so exciting.
And she said at the press conference earlier on that she's focusing on that. What do you think their chances are?
Yeah, I mean, Barcelona are not going to be, an easy team to beat. But I think now is the time, they put all the things and implemented the game plan that they put in place, and they're listening to Emma Hayes and the players they've added to their team as well. I mean, Sam Kerr and Pernilla Hard are two of the best players in the world. And just because you've got the best players doesn't mean you're always going to win. So the fact that Emma's managed them, the players are implementing what she's asking, and the players are happy. When you watch them play, everybody looks happy, and that you can see that they're breeding confidence. So I'm backing Chelsea for this weekend, but I think it's going to be a difficult game against Barcelona. They're a difficult team.
Yeah, I think you're backing Chelsea this weekend. What about Fran and Sam Kerr? I mean, how important are they up front?
Unbelievable. I mean, the telepathy they have between the two of them is unreal. I mean, when they're not assisting each other, they're scoring, and it's just fantastic to see because, like I said, sometimes when players come over from another country, it's not easy for them to settle in, let alone during a global pandemic, and they've got 48 goals between the two of them, and they've been on fine form. But their backline at Chelsea, I mean, their goalkeeper's fantastic, Katrine Berger, and, they're just really, really great team. And they're just going to look to go from strength to strength. They've got 2 more trophies they need to win. They're obviously still in the FA Cup and the Champions League. So they'll be looking to win the Champions League this weekend because I know, being Emma Hayes' former player and friend, I know this is the one she really desperately wants. So good luck to them. Well, Leanne, I think you're backing Chelsea this weekend. Thanks so much for joining us, and we wish them all the luck in the world. Thank you. Thank you. Next, to a rescue mission on the River Thames to try and save a baby whale. Crowds gathered yesterday in Richmond to watch a team try and help the lost animal. Today, they've tried to find it again, but sadly, there's little hope it will make it. Here's Sally Williams.
Oh my God, it's an orca.
I don't know, they said it was a porpoise or something.
It's a very unusual sight in the Thames, and a very upsetting one too. Beached on boat rollers in Richmond, a baby minke whale, injured and stuck. The mission to rescue it has been long and pretty distressing. Last night, rescuers struggled to move it. The plan was to take the baby whale to a safer place and put it to sleep. But during the journey, it managed to break free and disappear. This morning, the whale was spotted even further upstream at Teddington Lock, the furthest a whale has ever been up the Thames, where a large crowd was growing. Have you spotted it?
Yes, it was just down there.
Suddenly, on the small jetty we stood on, there was a commotion right beneath our feet.
Oh, well, good luck. I hope you spot it.
The whales in Greenland.
Wow, it's just there.
Oh,
it's just there.
It's
wow.
It's under it.
Down there. Well, just as I was talking to these people here, we actually heard and felt the whale crash into what was below us. And now, very sadly, it appears to be stuck.
As the tide rose, it managed to free itself from here, but it is, in effect, still stuck in Teddington, to the great concern of the rescuers.
So we're a bit unsure whether it should still be with its mum or not at this point. But our other concern is it's in poor nutritional condition, which indicates that it's not fed for a long period of time. And this, unfortunately, from our extensive experience, comes with quite a poor prognosis for its survival, I'm afraid to say.
It is now looking very unlikely a rescue will be possible, but vets will do all they can to ensure as little distress as possible. The marvel here at catching a glimpse of a whale, utterly overshadowed by the sadness of its situation.
Sally, that is just so sad, isn't it?
I know, a little bit of my heart broke today, and it was very strange. Everyone was standing on the bridge looking in one direction, and we were behind them, and then suddenly there was that, oh, what was that? And there was the whale right down there, and to see it up close, and it was just sort of so still, it just clearly couldn't do anything. So anyway, good luck to the whale and the rescuers looking after it. On to the weather, which is not so sad. I don't know if you remember what you did yesterday, Ronke.
It's glorious for me yesterday.
Lovely day. Finally, we earned it, especially given that Saturday was pretty rotten. Anyway, anyone out there with a garden has probably got lots and lots of work to do. Hopefully this week it won't be too bad, certainly for the next couple of days. Let's have a look.
Making the most of it, whatever the weather. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Well, I hope you had a lovely start to the week. We got some great weather on Sunday, getting up to 21 degrees. So just offsetting the spring flowers beautifully. Now, this week we'll have some sunny spells and a few showers around. Not too bad the next couple of days. Some of those showers might be a bit heavier as we go into Thursday and Friday. It's a little bit warmer than last week, as you probably noticed, although for this week, not quite as warm as it was yesterday. We still keep the cool nights. Can't guarantee there won't be some pockets of frost around, although hopefully not too much, because some of my seedlings are now outside. So back to tonight. Hopefully a nice evening for you. You might catch some late evening sunshine, and then we'll see clear skies overnight. So the temperatures will drop down. It will be quite cold first thing tomorrow morning. Some areas of the countryside might be a bit chillier than that, but like I said, most of us avoiding a frost. There might just be some little pockets of mist around, perhaps to the south of London. So we start tomorrow morning, as I said, a little bit fresh, but quite bright. Some decent sunshine to begin with. Fairly soon we'll see the cloud bubbling up again. There we go. Bringing a few showers with it. Not too many, but as we get into the afternoon, you can see it's looking much drier out there. Some decent sunshine. Still a bit breezy, a bit like today, but perhaps not quite as breezy as today. And so therefore in the sunshine, it might just get a tiny bit warmer, highs 17 or 18 degrees. Into the evening, fairly similar. A bit more cloud around perhaps, but mostly dry. Then as we head into Wednesday, that's not a bad day. It might be worth just catering for a touch of rain into the evening in the west. Keep an eye on the forecast. And then for Thursday and Friday, as I mentioned, we are getting some showers heading our way. Some of them might be a bit heavy, maybe a touch of thunder and hail around, but some sunshine hopefully as well. Maybe just a little bit cooler. That's it. I'll see you later on. Cheerio.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Finally, they were never expected to win the mayoral race, but they caught the public's imagination and attention over the last few weeks. YouTube star Nico Omilana finished in 5th place, and Count Binface chalked up almost 25,000 votes. They spoke to Sam Holder about what they plan to do next.
Count Binface for Mayor of London, 24,775.
Yes, that's right. Almost 25,000 real human beings went and cast votes for this candidate. Count Binface has stood in elections before, but this was by far his most successful result.
From a sort of standing start over 4 years, I have gone from 249 votes in Maidenhead to 69 votes in Uxbridge to 24,000 plus in London. So, you know, the R number for Binface is well above 1. We're on an exponential curve. So, you just watch this space for the future, this hyperspace.
It costs £10,000 to enter the mayoral race. With only 1% of the vote, Binface will not be getting his deposit back. But as well as satire, this was about raising money for charity.
Half the Wonga came from sort of me and friends, half came from the crowdfunder, and the surplus is going to be donated to shelter.
The candidate who got the 5th highest number of votes is this man, YouTuber Nico. Famous for trolling English Defence League supporters on marches, his policies included freezing the Thames to allow people to ice skate. He earned nearly 50,000 votes, making Nico the most successful independent candidate. What do you think that says about the state of politics in London at the moment?
I feel like that says that a lot of people don't feel represented, and they felt like they could get behind my campaign because they feel just that they aren't represented. At the end of the day, the only 4 people we lost to were the 4 biggest parties in the country. So that itself says a lot.
He'll also lose his deposit, not that that really matters. For the £10,000 fee, he's had plenty of publicity, and the videos he's made of his election journey have had more than 9 million hits. But with viewers wanting fresh content, Nico's political career has stalled before it's really begun, with this bombshell announcement today.
It's time for me to retire. Goodbye. Thank you, ITV.
His dramatic exit only slightly shorter than his political career. And your water.
And my water. Don't litter. Thanks. Appreciate it, ITV.
Sam Holder, ITV News.
Needed his coat. That's it. I'll be back with another update after ITV News at 10. Coming up next, Mary Nightingale with the ITV Evening News. But from me and the rest of the London team, bye-bye.